What's going on, my nail friends? Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I am using pudding gel palette named With Love from West Coast Tips. Look at how cute these colors are. So these little palettes are new releases, and they have 3 pudding gels in there that coordinate, so they're perfect. You don't have to think about a color, design, anything like that. And then just make sure that you grab one of the West Coast Tips applicator brushes for them. There's flat squared ones and then the rounded ones. And I personally prefer the rounded ones because even when I'm doing pudding gel on my nails, it's easier to get into the cuticles for me personally. So like I said, I prefer those round ones. And I am doing a set of press-ons for myself with this manicure. So whether I'm doing it on myself or a client or press-on set, I'm still going to be buffing, filing, shaping, making sure you clean the cuticle area, remove any debris, and then add gel base. I am using, of course, the West Coast Tips gel base and applying it to all of the nails, and then we're going to cure that for 30 seconds, and then we can start adding our pudding gel. This brush is brand new. It had that kind of little bit of a sticky residue that brushes come with when they're brand new, so I did clean that off with alcohol. And the way that you want to use these brushes with pudding gels, you want to put some gel base down somewhere. You can use a cupcake liner, a plate, whatever. I have my gel palette there. And you want to make sure you get some base into that brush, so you rub it back and forth on the brush. I promise you, will help glide that pudding gel right over the nail. As you can see right here, it is going on so easily. When you pick it up, pudding gel is not hard. It's honestly not even very viscous. I know in the little palette it looks like it might be hardened or something like that, but the minute you touch it with the brush, you'll notice. Don't just shove the little brush in there. Kind of dab it to pick up a little bit, and I'm just gliding it across the gel base. And then because I've got gel base on my brush, it's gliding right off the brush, and I put it as evenly as possible. And I really like that glitter. Super shimmery, beautiful. It is not chunky at all. And you'll see that here when I don't have to buff it or anything. This is just like a fine shimmer, so it's very easy to apply. I know some of them are different consistencies, and I do have a few that are chunkier glitters from West Coast Tips that are pudding gels, but they're still very easy to apply. It's not anything to be concerned with. So I'm doing the same thing with this other nail, and I prefer, if you can, well, for me, I prefer to do the 2 layers on whatever nails I'm doing, curing in between, and finishing up completely with that color before I clean my brush. Because if not, you're going to be cleaning your brush, I feel like, excessively. So I take off some excess on here, and then I was like, oh shoot, I still have to do another layer. So I went and put those in the lamp for, I think I did 30 seconds, or it might have been 60 seconds, honestly, I'm not sure. But just put it in the lamp to cure, whatever your standard is for your lamp. I'm just fixing a tiny little spot here that I left uneven, but then I'm going to pop these in the lamp, and we'll come back, and because I had cleaned off my brush, just adding a little bit of gel base, and then I'm going right back in and doing the second layer of this shimmer, glitter, whatever it may be. And you can see, whoops, I'm a little bit out of focus there. Sorry, guys. There we go. I'll be back in focus in a second. There. And you can see that two coats, perfect coverage. Just look at it. It's just gliding right on. Super, super, super easy. And I'm brushing, not pushing down hard. I'm not putting a lot of pressure. I'm just gliding it right across, making sure that it's even. It's something that doesn't necessarily settle like builder gel or gel polish, if that makes sense. So you do have to make sure that it's pretty smooth before you cure it, because it's not self-leveling. There, that's the word I was thinking of. It's not self-leveling, so just make sure it's as smooth as possible. Then I went in and did the second nail, and then we will cure these babies. And while they're curing, I'll clean this brush up and we'll do the pink color next. So I'll let you watch this for just a second. So while we're doing the second cure on the silver glitter, I am just cleaning my brush, taking off that excess on a napkin. And then the way to finish properly cleaning your brush to transition to another color, I take gel base that I put on the palette, I run it through the brush, and you can see it actually comes off really easy. So you run it through there, just like so, and then clean off the excess on a napkin. Do that a couple of times until you see there's no more of that color coming through. There's some people that will just use multiple brushes. You can. I've got, I don't know, 7 or 8 of these brushes from West Coast Tips, but I don't necessarily feel like I need to get multiple brushes. I can clean it just fine in between and it won't be contaminated. I think if I had a black and a white design with the palette, then maybe I would use 2 just to ensure. If not, then just as long as you're spending plenty of time cleaning the brush in between switching colors, you're fine. And like I said, it's not hard. You saw me cleaning. This is in real time. I did not forward it. So our brush is clean, and now we're moving on to the pink. And as you can see, I grabbed a little bit too much. So it actually ends up that the amount I have on there is enough for the first layer on both nails. Because the other one had glitter, the consistency was just a smidge different. And so I went in there and I scooped just a little bit too much. And that's okay. Just brush off some excess and move on to the other nail. Or if you're only doing one nail in this color, I would just brush this off in a napkin or a lint-free wipe or something. So I'm trying to smooth it out because I know that I took too much. And as long as you're putting it on nice and evenly, it'll continue to glide right over it. So try not to put it uneven and patchy looking, because that's actually the way that it's going to cure. So when you are working with pudding gels, like I said, they don't self-level like a regular gel polish would. So you will see streaks if you're not applying it with, even pressure when you're pushing the brush down, and if you don't have a little bit of gel base to make it glide. So this is just the easiest way that I found to apply these for me. So I'm just trying to pass on the little tips and tricks. If you have a different way of doing it that's totally working for you, that is fine. So again, I'm going through making sure this is nice and even. And because they're press-ons, I have the ability of going in different directions. If they were already on my nails, of course, I would be working only from cuticle to free edge. So I'll cure this 30 seconds and then come back, and I did a second layer by just adding just a tiny bit more on there on my brush. And I found that I wanted this coat, this actual color, to be a little bit more opaque just for the stamping that I was going to do on top. So I did end up doing 3 layers of this color, and the other 2 only got 2 layers. So this one in 2 coats, I think, to me, unless it was my lighting, it could have been my lighting or my eyes. I'm really blind. It possibly is more jelly, less milky, if that makes sense. And so I chose personally to do 3 layers. Once I saw the second layer, I was like, ooh, I wanted just a teeny bit darker. And I was trying to make it a little bit more opaque, and it worked for what I wanted to do. So you'll see me do another full layer after these are cured of the same pink color. And you saw me easily clean my brush the same way, putting some base on it, running it through it, and then just taking it off on the napkin, and we have no contamination getting into this gorgeous gray color. So gray is one of my favorite colors. Look how beautiful, creamy, and solid this color is. So light gray, just look at that little nail. I could not stop staring at that color. I almost wished I had done, actually I do, I wish I had done 2 gray, 1 pink, instead of 2 pink, 1 gray, just because it was such a beautiful color. So I'll be using that color again for sure. And when you get these little gel palettes, just because it's got 3 colors in there doesn't mean you have to use all 3. If you fall in love with the glitter, go ahead and do a whole mani of the glitter, and then the other 2 colors you can use at a different time. It's not, they come in a little palette, one, because it'll be easier storage and you get 3 colors and it takes up less space. They're super cute, I think very convenient, and they do coordinate if you choose to use all 3 of them together. So this is the second layer on it. Nice, smooth, creamy color. We are putting it to cure, and we are done with our brush. So now I'm just gonna clean it, run it through, taking it out. It actually just pulls the color out of the brush. And I do it several times until you don't need to anymore, because when you take that excess off of the napkin, you can see it is clean. So covering this little palette up, my brush. When I store these, I do put gel base on there because they have a cover. So you don't, the easiest way is to do this. I have also done cuticle oil on it before, but then when I'm going to use it, I have to clean it before I use it because I've got cuticle oil on it. So the easiest is just put base and pop it right back in there, and ta-da. And now we're going to be using matte top coat on all the nails. I chose to do matte top coat because I am going to be doing a stamping design. And initially, I was going to do a stamp on all the nails, which is why they're all matte, gel matte top coat on all of them. Once I was done with 3 of the nails, and then at that point, I was like, oh, I really like the way this looks. I'm just going to leave it like this, and did not do regular top coat on the other nails. It's just a full matte mani. But as you can see, before they're matte coated, that glitter is stunning shiny. So definitely we'll be using it again and doing a shiny top coat over them. So this is what I'm doing right now. Like I said, I'm doing matte top coat, and then we'll cure for 60 seconds. And this mani is done for the most part. And these colors are stunning. They're beautiful in matte with a matte top coat. And I am just smoothing out the sides of a couple of the nails real quick, because again, these are press-ons for me, actually, for me to do a mani. And I am wearing that glove on my left hand because when I buff and file, I always mess up my thumb whenever I'm doing press-ons. It drives me nuts, and I don't know how to not do that yet, so I wear a glove on the hand that I'm not holding the file with. And then when I'm doing customer orders for my press-ons, I wear gloves on both hands. So either way, I'm still wearing a glove. And then that shiny stuff I have on my glove there on the left is actually matte gel or gel base, one of those two. When I run the brush over the nails, if there's like a little fiber, a little hair, something, I wipe it on my glove instead of like redoing the nail. I wipe it on my glove frequently until I get it off, and then I go back and basically get a fresh, clean palette to start with. So we're using this Maniology stamping plate that is one of those Halloween-y type Valentine's Day deals. I see these a lot. I've never had one of these plates. I mean, I'm usually either all Halloween or all Valentine's Day. There's never a mix of those two, and I thought this was super cute to do this manicure in pink and gray. So initially I was trying to figure out what colors to stamp with because there's so many options. So the colors that I chose I think pair really well. So stamping plate M346, and once you take off that blue plastic protector layer, then you want to make sure that you grab all of your items. I like to put my plate on a napkin, get you your jelly stamper and something to clean your plate with acetone. And then we are going to be using color Folklore B415. It is a dark gray, which I think is going to be perfect. And I'm going to be doing the little bats up on the right hand corner of that plate, and all you do is apply it to the area. We're going to be picking up our scraper, scrape at a 45-degree angle, and then you pick up using your stamper, preferably in an opposite direction. And so I typically scrape down and roll up. That's just the way that I do it. You got to do kind of what works for you, but through many stamping trials, I figured out what works for me. Stamping is fun. It's adorable. It's a way to add some beautiful imagery to your nails and have it actually be easy. Once you figure out stamping, you're going to be blown away by how easy it is, and you won't even remember why you had so much trouble. It does take a little trial in the beginning though, so if you're interested in stamping, just stick with it. And we are using Pumps B463. I think this one came part of the January Mani by Me box. I believe the name sounds familiar, so I'm pretty sure it's from that box. And then I'm going to be putting the two different hearts there. The first one is this one that I chose, and it's going to be on the glittered nail. So scrape to the side, pick up your stamper, upwards motion rolling, and I am removing excess from other parts of the plate that I don't want to get on the nail. And some people use a lint roller. I like to just use the scraper card. It picks it up just fine. As long as your image isn't already dry, it picks it up just fine. So that little heart made of tiny bats, so stinking cute. And that's on that nail. And then I am taking acetone on my wipe again, cleaning that off. I almost didn't remember using my left hand to do this. I don't know why, because I keep crossing over the camera. Typically, I'll just scrape it with my right hand, but I realized it's because I didn't have any gloves, and I have to take pictures of that hand. So I didn't want to mess up that manicure. So for the last design, then it is hearts again, and then you can see that I'm removing the excess imagery, and then it won't come off on our nail once we stamp it. So clear stampers are the way to go, because then you can see where you're actually going. And that's that design. And there is a teeny tiny little piece of pink, like a little spot that I will clean off with alcohol here in a minute off of that same nail that I just touched. So the stamping part is actually done. So now I'm just cleaning my plate with 100% acetone. That is how you want to clean your plate. Some people don't like the streakiness, so they will do alcohol after, but to be able to actually stamp and have your image pick up, you want to make sure you're cleaning it with acetone prior to stamping and in between all the images. And somehow I thought I kept the recording of me cleaning off that little spot. It's just with one of those lipstick applicator brushes. I just put a dab of acetone on it, rubbed that one teensy tiny little pink spot and cleaned it off. And now I am finishing these off with a matte gel top coat. So that is it for this mani. I think it came out beautiful. If you want to receive some more tips and tricks, make sure to follow me on my page. I do have a discount code for West Coast Tips that is Mary10, and then my discount code for Maniology for the stamping products is also Mary10, and those will get you 10%. I am an affiliate and brand ambassador, so I do earn a small commission, and all of your purchases are appreciated. Thank you all so much for joining me. This is what the nails will look like after they are on, and I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you guys later. Bye.